Today on the channel, we're going to review the Betafpv X-Knight 3-inch HD edition. Here we go. Guys, here we go. Today's review, we're going to talk about this Betafpv X-Knight 3-inch edition. Now, on the channel recently, if you're interested in the 5-inch version of this, under 250 grams, 6S X-Knight, amazing ripper. Go back and look at that video. That was a fun video. And this one is another HD edition, but this time we have a 4S configuration on here and a little smaller. If you're looking for something like a little mini 3-inch ripper, this one's actually pretty cool if you already have the DJI goggles. If not, you might be able to get this kit and build it up with some of the Betafpv gear on here and do your own build. But we have GemFan 3016 props, I believe they were. And those are 3-inch props, 3-inch tri-blade props, looking pretty nice with the motors on board. These are the Betafpv branded 1404 3800 kV motors. They have 4 bolts on the bottom. Each end of the arm is also replaceable on this quad. It is a true X design, and you can get extra parts and replacement parts for this quad as well on the Betafpv website. I also have this interesting, what looks to be like a Crossfire TPU mount in the very front right there, but that's actually not Crossfire for a Mortal T. This is actually an XM Plus up front mount, which I haven't seen before, and I was kind of worried about this setup, honestly, to begin with, because this is a review and it should be some truths told here. When I went in for a crash with this, the good news is that this actually held up, and I was worried that this would just snap right off or have damage to my receiver, and in a really few hard crashes, it did survive. So I did some full frontal crashes out in the field with the hard packed clay, and it did great. So I think that the motors on here also help to lighten up this quad and give it a little bit longer flight time in the 6-minute range. You can even get a longer flight time if you choose to run something as large as an 850 milliamp 4S battery, but I generally tend to stick with this quad. Around 650 milliamp is probably the sweet spot. They say to use a 450 for freestyle, but you're only going to get just under 3 minutes with a 450. So 1404s, they're a little bit heavy for a 450 setup. You're gonna sag out that battery pretty quick with these motors. We also have the Caddx Vista on board with about 20 to probably 45 degrees of tilt there, and it's nice because they do include a TPU camera mount that's going to go over top of the lens and have a nice lens protector there on the front, which did its job in my several head-on crashes. And I have to say that this canopy is really quite durable. It did hold up really extremely well. None of the posts broke, so that's really good news, because I had 2 crashes that were so bad that the battery ejected and flew off. So I spent a good 30 minutes actually looking for the quad. Now on the bottom as well, we also have a strap here that I had to replace. The strap did break, so I think the strap could probably be a little bit better from Betafpv. I didn't have any problems with the battery connector back here, with this, the VBAC connection here with the XT30. You want to zip tie this off to your frame to make sure that this doesn't get pulled off and broken off your flight controller. And speaking of flight controller, we have an F4 AIO on here, and this is running Betaflight with OSD, all the bells and whistles you'd want, but it's all on one board right there, which is kind of nice, with 12 amp ESCs. But so far, I'm really enjoying flying this quad, and I'm actually really happy that it did survive my flight test, because most of you guys that watch my channel know that I push these quads pretty hard, and sometimes I do go into crash. Let's go ahead outside now and let me show you some of the flying footage of the X-Knight 3-inch HD edition, and we'll have some fun and we'll push it to its limits. We'll see what happens. Here we go. All right, guys, welcome back from that flight test. That was a lot of fun. I think that this quad is very lightweight. If you're looking for something under 250 grams, this is cool. This is around the 125 to 29 gram range for this quad without the battery. Putting the battery on there, depending on which battery you put on there, it's going to get you up around 150 to 160, so still well underneath that. And since we have a newly upgraded firmware on the Caddx Vista, this is nice because the DJI Digital with 50 megabit on there almost looks as good as something like my Insta360 Go. You can actually get one of these and probably mount it on top, but I wish Betafpv would kind of give us some kind of mounting option on the top here. There might be a TPU mount on their website that you can buy that would convert it to fit maybe something like the Insta360 Go on top, which would be nice. So I'd like to see maybe a few different canopy designs here coming from Betafpv. That would be pretty cool for most of you guys wanting some type of sort of action camera mount on top of this quad. It would have no problem carrying an Insta360 Go. So that's an option I'd like to see. And I'd also like to see maybe an increase in the V2 version of this, maybe a little higher ESC, maybe 20 amp ESCs. Always makes me a little bit nervous to run 4S on a 12 amp configuration, but it looks like this quad is handling it, and that's what they do suggest. You can also fly it on 3S if you're a beginner. Start there and then move your way up. But fun quad. It is priced, let me double check their website for you, around $289. So it is quite a bit cheaper than some of the other HD quads out there at the moment. So if you're looking for a cheaper and easier quad to fly starting out that will still have some awesome acro capability, the X-Knight 3-inch is a good choice for that. So if you're looking for your first HD experience, or you're just getting into FPV and you're going to go the DJI route, this would be a really nice combo with your goggles. So make your orders, and you can check out the links down below. I'm Justin Davis, guys. Thanks again for tuning into my channel and subscribing. Hopefully you had a good Labor Day weekend. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.